you okay?
Yes, yes. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yeah. All good?
Oh, good. Oh my goodness. Welcome to Hot Take Tuesday Live on a Wednesday.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you for coming on. I'm so excited. So excited. So this girl loves horror. Would
Yes.
you is Becky your first name?
Becky, yeah.
Becky. Okay. All right. Love it. So if you don't mind introducing yourself, let us know, what you're about, what you're into, where you're residing from.
Okay, so I'm over in the UK and my page is This Girl Loves Horror, where you will see a lot of my horror collection and also my movie reviews. And I'm also part of a podcast, the Girl and the Gay podcast. So check that
Ooh.
out.
Oh, we'll do. Definitely. Excellent. And for those joining, my name is Lisa. I am the host of Hot Take Tuesday Live on Wednesday, where I review fellow movie lovers in the community. We talk about a movie and we just kind of dissect it, have fun with it. Everyone is free to drop your comments, any questions in the chat. We'll read them as we go along. And yeah, I write, I produce, I direct, and I teach. So fun.
Fabulous. Busy.
Yes. So today we're going to be talking about Anna Kendrick's directorial debut, Woman of the Hour. So I'm very excited. So Becky, what are your initial thoughts of the film?
So when I first watched it, as soon as it pretty much came out here, I kind of went in blind. I had no idea what it was. I just saw Anna Kendrick. I was like, love her. I'll give it a watch.
Yes.
I honestly thought it was going to be some kind of rom-com or something. Like, I literally had no idea. So that opening scene was just like, oh, wow, okay. This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I knew nothing of the true story either. So obviously I've looked a bit more into that since watching the film and reading other people's reviews and stuff. But with knowing nothing and just watching it as a film, I really liked it. I think I reviewed it and gave it like a 4 out of 5 at the time.
Okay.
I thought it was really good.
Okay. So, for those of you just joining, we're talking about Woman of the Hour. Anyone who's interested in coming on and having a chat about a movie, you can DM me later. This is Becky's time to shine. But you can also drop your comments and questions in the chat, and we'll talk about it. So what's a good dope hot take? I wasn't aware it was based on a true story either. That caught me off guard too. Okay. Hey. And it says, hi babes, I'm supposed to be working, I'm gonna get busted. Oops. So my thoughts are, when I watched it, I thought it was a good movie. I thought it was, I enjoyed it. My slight issue, one of my issues with it was it felt like two good separate movies put together. Like you said, like I felt like when Anna Kendrick was on screen that I was watching a rom-com, and then when what's his name, Rodney Alcala, or the actor Daniel Salvato was on screen, I was like, oh, I'm watching a thriller. So it was kind of like a weird, in and out thing. Like, oh, okay, out. Oh, okay, out. So it was kind of like it threw me off. I'll be honest, it threw me off a little bit. I was like, oh, okay. They're two separate good films.
Yes.
And you just together, like, all right. So, but I don't know if you got a chance to check out my hot take on it, which my hot takes, it's more of a gimmick thing, just a little fun thing, Sometimes they are not a hot take. Sometimes there's something that we all agree on, and sometimes it is a hot take. So with something like this, I was trying to find, I always try to find a little bit of humor you know, and the subject matter is very, very sensitive for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to give proper respect. So I tried to find something to pull from and make it funny with, like, I'm saying this, but what I'm really saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Oh, crazy Goose says, "Hey guys, hopefully I read it right."
Hi.
Um, Luke Kuroda says, "I agree that the film felt very messy in its storytelling." So I just figured, I just felt like it told two very good different stories. That's all I felt.
Yeah.
So, but again, yeah. So I'm a big Anna Kendrick fan. So let's start off with, now there's gonna be spoilers, so don't, worry. We're spoiling things, and we don't have to go in order, Becky. So
Okay.
anything that comes to your mind, let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So let me ask you, how did you feel about, let's go with the first encounter, like what we opened the film to, when Rodney is taking pictures of the woman in the desert, and he's kind of like coming off as caring, and, tell me your story and share, and she's just pouring her heart out. I I felt like a heart wrench
Okay.
when he just
Yeah.
flipped so
Yeah.
fast.
Like a switch as well, wasn't it? It was, and like I say, because I went in blind, it took me completely by surprise, and I was just like, "Wow,
Well,
okay, this is where this is what we're doing." Okay,
yeah.
but yeah, and then like the way he was resuscitating her as well, just to bring her back and do things again.
Yes.
Oh, it was just like, no, no.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I will say that the more uh, intimate parts of what he did to these women, I kind of liked how they did it. They didn't show
Wow.
or essentialize the brutality of it and everything. They found a way of letting you know what was going on without showing it, which I appreciate. I feel like sometimes we get too much with surrealism with certain things. Like,
Yeah.
let's kind of dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
I like how you did that.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah, especially the kind of the one more towards the end where the younger girl at the end that comes through. I think they because it was very clearly, made what had happened to her without us having to actually see it or anything. So
Yes.
it was done well.
Yeah, the very specific camera angles and things, like I definitely appreciated that. So what I guess we'll dive into what one of the things that I really noticed, how they handled it in the film, is how it seemed like a lot of the male characters in this film were either intrusive with space, or oblivious, or dismissive.
Yeah, I was going to say very dismissive. It was was making me so angry.
Yeah, it was like one of the three.
Yeah,
I mean, it's saying something when Bachelor number 2 has the best, like, hey, watch out.
Yeah.
Like, even when I'm like, just watch him. I don't like, like, I was like, oh, what?
Yeah, saying something coming from him.
Yeah. So, now this is based on a true story. And as you know, based on a true story in Hollywood means I can take a general scope of what happened and I can sprinkle all these extra elements to it. So I'm going to kind of play off some of that right now. Let's see. So first, with Bradshaw, she actually never went on the date with him. Like, they never met up. Period. Apparently she spoke with him like off stage, like backstage, for a few minutes. And just based off that few-minute conversation, she was like, "No, I'm not feeling the vibes." Like she literally called them the station the next day and was like, "I cannot go on this date with him. Is that okay?" And they were like, "Yeah, no worries." So I thought that it was necessary for this visual medium for Anna Kendrick to go to like a mini hangout with him after the fact to kind of really, like, you know, because the thing is, liberties are taken with movies because it is still, there has to be a form of still kind of hooking you and being able to visually tell you the story and get it. So a few minutes backstage versus her sitting in a restaurant and them having this little quick exchange, I thought was a better way of kind of really like harping on, you know, the intensity and weirdness of this guy.
Yeah. Picking up on his creepy vibes, which he did very well. He played the part very well.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about that. Daniel Zolato. Yeah. He did a very good job of being in and out of that, like having this mask of caring and stability and like knowing when to let it slip just enough.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
He was very good. And like you're saying, that quick change as well, when he seems so nice and then just switches. It's so cool.
Out of nowhere. How did you feel about the host of the dating game?
Oh, I hated him. He was just really annoying me. Especially when the bit where Anna Kendrick was kind of going off her own script and the way he was like looking at her and the things he was saying, and I was just like, oh, shut up.
He's like, as soon as we're done, get this C word off my show. And the fact that he's saying it to another woman, you know, she's apologizing profusely, like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," da, 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 da. Like it was her, you know, but just doing a good job of really dictating the times and the 70s and how, you know, things were perceived, how the expectations of kind of, you know, the behaviors of what was expected from women. So let's be honest. And him having that little talk with her, what's he say? I know you're smart, but you know, boys are babies, so just laugh and smile, like trying to placate her, but at the but at the same time, like devaluing her. Like, it's just
absolutely. He was not nice.
No, not at all. Not at all. Guys, we're talking about Woman of the Hour, so if you guys have any thoughts on that, feel free to drop it in the chat. I do appreciate that she highlighted certain things in this movie, like really letting you see what that male gaze like really was like back then. I myself was getting I was getting like, oh, a little upset, right? Like, oh my gosh, come on. And then when I got to the end credits where they gave you all the information, I was getting madder and madder. I was like, what are you serious?
Yes, yeah. Did you already know about the story and stuff before watching this, or
no? I had heard. I think like I don't know, like a little while ago, I had, you know, you watch one of those like, you know, top 10 like shocking TV moments type of thing, and the killer being on the dating game was one of the top 10. That's all I knew about it.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, that's wild. But like doing a little bit more research, reading up on a couple articles after watching this movie, I was just like, I was floored. I was floored at the ineptness, like the like I don't really want to point fingers, but man, it was very clear that no one was listening to these women are taking them seriously. It was wild. And I will give you a fact. Hold on, where is it? Let me see if I have it here. I think it was okay. So, did you know, at the time of his appearance on the show, Alcala had already murdered 5 women, attempted to murder, an 8-year-old girl, and was on the FBI's top 10 most wanted fugitives list.
Terrible.
And he had also served 34 months for child, of a child. And had spent 2.5 years in prison for giving, drugs to a 13-year-old girl, and still made it on the dating game.
Yeah.
So
just
they didn't do a background check on this guy, which is one thing. That's one thing. But for him to be on the top 10 most wanted fugitive list,
nobody spot him, or
I mean, it said that, let's see, one guy spotted him. In the movie, it was shown that it was like an audience member who remembered him, but in reality, it was a detective who was working on one of the cases, I think, where he was like a suspect, and he recognized him on the television. So almost says hi. The crafty misfit says she never went to any bar with him after the show. They parted ways, and that was it. Yep. And then there were many artistic liberties taken in the movie. Yes. So I believe that Anna Kendrick's character was trying to be an actor or actress, but I think in reality the real character was a teacher. I believe she was a teacher.
Yeah.
I read it.
Watch the YouTube clip of the actual episode of them on the dating game from the 70s. Yeah. She's a teacher. Yeah, it's not very long.
Yeah,
definitely go and check it out, because there's something about him. When he's talking, and then he almost sexualizes his answers as he's talking back. I don't know. It's just gross.
It's different. It's different. And then the other thing was that according to what I read, none of the survivors were ever consulted about, regarding the story of the movie. Like they didn't reach out to the survivors. Miss Bradshaw herself, I think, is no longer with us, so Anna Kendrick wasn't able to speak with her either. It's just, I feel like the problem with this being based on a true story is I have to look at it through that lens. So even though the movie itself was very interesting, and the 2 movies, I'm still going to call them 2 movies, the 2 movies are very good, I feel like as far as a biopic for something of this nature, that maybe it was just too many liberties taken. It was a bit too much. And I feel like, I don't know. I just, again, as entertainment on its own, I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah. And I think that's what, because like I said at the beginning, when I first watched it, was blown away, really enjoyed it, but it was actually Jo. In the comments, it was her review that I saw after, saying that it's not really true to the actual events, and I was just, that was quite disappointing. I thought that's a real shame that they haven't really stuck more to the true story.
Yeah.
Like you say, I get they have to make it like a movie, add things in, but to learn that it wasn't quite as true as I thought it was while I was watching. Because again, I didn't even know it was a true story until those credits rolled at the end, and it was all coming up, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But then it also brings to light, because I would never have known about any of this happening, or would never have looked into it, whereas I have now because I've watched the film and know all the awful things that he did.
Yeah. No. I think the film, I think it did a good job of bringing that to light for us, right? And I guess there's just, I almost feel like I can't fully give it a green light pass because of just the certain elements because there are a bunch of based on a true story movies in Hollywood that are they take some liberties. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Some liberties, for real, for real. You're like, wait, what?
None of that happened.
So you know, like at the end of the day, they're still trying to tell a story. They're still trying to be entertaining, and they're trying to like hold you. And sometimes, real life, as devastating as it can be, as heavy as it can be, as interesting as it can be, trying to package it into like an hour and a half long film, it may not be enough. So they have to kind of, you know, or try to find ways to make sure that you're connecting with the characters and you're really getting it.
Yeah.
Lovely Laura says, I wish they stuck more to the true story as well. I feel reality was entertaining enough. Okay, yes. So based on what I've seen, right? And like even if we were following the story of the survivor who got him in trouble initially, like which we started to a little bit, but you know what I mean? Like if we've kind of followed that a little bit more, because you know that would have been even more so, I think, you know, grounding. So let me see here. Let's talk about the dating game itself, right? Bachelor 1, 2, and 3. So if I'm to believe, our choices are a kind of dumb guy, right? Going to medical field. A kind of like disrespectful schmuck, or a serial killer. So
they picked really well on that.
I'm like, you know what? I guess I'll just go with the dumb guy, bachelor number 1.
Yeah. Oh dear. Yeah. Like you say, I mean, what was their, you know, protocol getting these people on the show in the first place? You know, what did they go through before they, you know, the application process? What was it? Because wow.
And the bachelor that I guess in the movie that he spoke to, that he was like, I always get the girl or whatever, and he was like weirded out by him. He said, watch him or whatnot. Okay, so obviously he never really showed him a picture or ate a picture in front of him, but the guy, the bachelor, really did say, I thought he was weird. I got, but like the minute he said, I always get the girl, like I just, something about him I didn't like. Like he literally, he's reported as saying that. So I was like, okay, cool. And then, you know, again, it's a movie, so they kind of have to up the ante, you know, really like bring it home. So there are.
And I think I read it.
Sorry,
I think I read that he did like to kind of show off his portfolio of photos and stuff, like to work friends and things like that. So it kind of makes sense, although it didn't actually happen in reality. You know, it does make sense.
So I do have a question about that, right? And I haven't looked into that to see, but you know how he was walking around with all these pictures of all these photos of people that he's taken. I wonder how many of them were like actual victims, right?
Yeah.
And if that's the case, if that's really what happened, you know, where did that end up? Like, did that get into the police hands? Did they, you know, did they find that? Because I mean, for them to say that they estimate, they got him on like, I don't know, 7 murders or whatever, but they estimate there's like 130. I was like, where are you guys getting this from? Is like, were they looking through the photographs and they're like, well, you know what I mean? Like this person's been missing or whatnot or something. Like,
I think I read that what was it? Yeah, that the police feared that some of the unidentified people in the photos could be cold cases that still weren't solved. So they were worried that, you know, it could possibly be victims, but they've never been able to identify them. So yeah, just
so let me tell you what's funny, and I use the word funny loosely, is the fact that when I'm watching this and I'm like, wait a minute, if she went on a date with you and then you like killed her, dude, you were on national television. And then I was like, well, hold on now. Because he got away with a lot. And he was already a wanted fugitive on national television. So
Yeah.
maybe he didn't know what he was doing. Because I was like, oh, well.
Or was he like just because he kept getting away with these things constantly? Was he just doing more and more to put himself in danger to see what he could get away with? You know, you hear about those things as well, don't you? It's just crazy. Yeah.
Lovely Laura says, yes, they put those pictures out for the public to identify, and many went unidentified. Holy smokes.
Because I think there was thousands or hundreds, wasn't there, that they had?
Oh,
men and women, well, young men and women.
oh my gosh. Okay.
Terrible.
Okay. Wow. The 70s were wild. Like I said, pretty privileged, which is what I was calling it for fun for the video, but you know that's not what I meant. Like basically if you were a certain caliber, a certain gender at that time, it was just like you passed the sniff test like with no flying colors all the time. All right, so I kind of want to talk a little bit about I'll try to pull more elements from the movie because I know that we're talking more about the real life and comparing it, which is hard. It's just hard not to do when it's about it. Yeah, and I actually do like enjoying talking about it and comparing and finding out more information. So when I could think the guy's her neighbor Terry.
I don't remember his name. Yeah.
I think it was Terry. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it was Terry. Cheat sheet.
Oh.
So I like, again, like you said, some parts felt like a rom-com. Her moments with him felt like rom-com. Like, you know, he's sitting there, you know, she's telling her that, you know, she rehearses her lines all the time. He's like, oh yeah, I hear you all the time running that lines. He's like, I've got notes. And I was like, excuse you?
Creep. Oh dear. And then she goes out with him, doesn't she, for a drink? And
listen, when they're sitting at the drink and she hits him with the you're my only friend, I visibly saw him like crumble inside. I was like, yeah, you're in the zone, dog. You're in the zone.
Yeah. Just making sure you know where you are.
which apparently she definitely needed to, because even after that, he went for it. Now, I didn't find the whole like hair behind the ear thing. Like I was like, the bold mood, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for him. Like I just like.
That's the way she reacted. I was just like, oh, it's so awkward.
I know. Now, let me tell you something about that. I noticed. So, you know how she flinched with that? Later, when she goes out to dinner with Rodney, he does the exact same move. She doesn't flinch, but she's not comfortable. And I found that, okay, is it because by that time she'd already picked up some weird vibes, and part of her knew maybe flinching wasn't the move? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I thought that was very interesting.
Show what you're feeling. Yeah.
Because I think it was the minute she, I guess, laughed at something that he had said about, like, you know, your soul or something, and she was like, oh, yeah, okay. You know, like, you
could see his face, couldn't you?
Personally, oh my gosh. And he started to flip. I was like, oh. Now, I don't know if she would have wanted to talk about it, you know, the real Bradshaw, if she had been alive, but and I don't know if she has already mentioned it, but I am curious to know her conversation with the real Rodney backstage. Like, what was it that, like, you know, maybe she can't even explain it, but maybe it was like a look, maybe it was a tone, maybe it was something he said. You know what I mean? Like, it just, women's intuition is a real thing. It's a real thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think I read. I'm trying to see if I wrote it down, but because I was reading about that,
Yeah.
Because it was interesting watching it back after knowing the stuff that happened. But I think she even said, like, it wasn't particularly anything he said. It was just like a vibe she was getting from him. And I think to see him in that YouTube clip, yeah, I can understand.
Yeah, I'm actually, I'm gonna go back and watch that YouTube clip,
Yeah.
Clip and see, because I mean, I feel like we've all had that happen where we speak to somebody and we're like, I don't know what it is, but I'm not vibing with you. I'm not saying that they're a serial killer, but like,
Yeah.
you're just like, I don't like the vibes you give off. Like the energy, I don't need that in my life. But like, this is the next level, you know?
Gut instinct, you've always got to listen to it, and thankfully she did.
Yes, and I can't remember which serial killer it was that it was talking about, but they talked about the serial killer who, and he's a famous one. If I had it in my head, you guys would know who I was talking about. But how like he was able to convince women to like, get in the car with him, do other kind of stuff, and they're like, oh, well, he was handsome, but he was off-putting. So the one thing about that was was etiquette and politeness. And you think about how, to be perfectly honest, how women, for the most part, were raised to be like polite and smile and this and that. So I wonder, sometimes how many women have ignored their instincts in lieu of politeness, and just etiquette.
Definitely done that.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it like a dig to them or anything like that. Just like I'm like, wow. I can just imagine. I literally can imagine, like, just you're like, okay, something's off, but I don't want to seem rude. I don't want to come off as mean. I don't want to seem like a bee, whatever.
Just me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, I've watched enough true crime now to be like, you know what? I'm gonna just let you think that I'm a bitch.
That's okay.
Okay. You think that? I'll live.
Yeah.
So let's see. Now they highlighted a bunch of different dates and locations with clips of him with victims, and I think about that one lady who, and again, I don't know how much liberties were taken with these, so I'm just going off what it showed me. So I think about that one lady who, like, the movers came and they dropped the furniture and they're like, we're on a schedule, sorry, and I'm just like, like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh. You guys could have taken an extra 10 minutes? No?
Yeah. Just enough. And
then I think about how, like, normal it is for you moving into a new place, and maybe you have a neighbor who's, oh, you guys need help with anything? And like, you wouldn't think to be like, no, you'd be like, oh yeah, can you help me bring up this couch?
Yeah.
Now he didn't live in the building. He was just a guy across the street. So, but I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would automatically be like, no. You just wouldn't think about it. And sometimes the time of the daytime tricks us as well. Like, well, not tricks us, but our guard is down. You're not thinking, like, it's daytime. You're not thinking of, like, things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm just taking mental notes. You know what I mean? Like, hire a mover for the day. For the day.
It's something I always think about. I don't know if you have it on Facebook over there. We have, like, Facebook Marketplace where you can sell things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm giving random strangers my address to come to my house and pick stuff up, or I'm going to some random stranger's house to get something, and I'm always like, that could be anyone.
Right?
If you think about it. Like,
I remember when Craigslist was the thing.
Yeah, big. Yeah.
Man, like, the different stories that came out of that. Like, I'm surprised there aren't already some true crime documentaries about that. Maybe there are, and I just didn't see them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's always the offer up, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, like that's like rolling the dice, you know what I mean? And it's like I have gone with family members and whatnot to go pick something up because they're like, we're not going alone, you know?
Yeah.
But then in the reverse, it's like someone coming to pick the stuff up. Even if they come in the daytime, they know where you live now. So if there's something off about them that you don't know, they could just like be like, okay, I'm gonna just watch you and come back later.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm already in my mind probably going to write a story about that now.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Someone's done it, yeah. Perfect opportunity, and now I'm never going to sell or buy anything off that.
Yeah. Oh, just a movie night to two of my favorites together. Oh, stop. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Anybody else who wants to come on and talk, hit me up in DMs and we'll schedule like to talk about a movie.
Yeah.
And right now, woman of the hour, and Becky is the woman of the hour. So
thank you.
You're like, is that a good thing? You're right. Maybe that was poor choice of words. Poor choice of words. You're right. I heard it as soon as I said it. You're right. Let's see. So, yeah. Okay, so what got me, right, was the end credits where it was like the victim that they showed us. Obviously, for the movie, they aged her up because I feel like she was much younger. That she was the reason that he got caught. And first, just on a movie note, when she escaped, and she was so smart about how she did it. Her telling him, I would be so embarrassed if somebody found out. Like that was actually true. That victim did say that's how kind of like he let his guard down. Like, oh, okay, she's not gonna tell me about it. She's ashamed. I mean, I'm good. I'm in the clear. So, I said, how long was this pee? Not to be, how long was this pee that when he gets out, police are pulling up? I'm like, well, I'll be darned. That's really fast.
Like the middle of nowhere, so the police got there very quick.
Very quickly. Yeah. I was like, I feel like maybe if y'all had just kind of like had him showing, maybe he was constipated, I would have been able to believe it a little more. Like he just got stuck in the bathroom. Sorry. But what part of what angered me was that she got away. She definitely reported, definitely like he was charged, and what was he? He was in jail, right? And what did he do? Like he got not parole. Was it what's the one bond? Was he out on bond or something something of that?
One reason his mum paid the bail, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
His mum bailed him out. Yeah.
Okay, that is an instance where like no, bail needed to be like $5 million. Like no. Like, he should not have been able, and for him to, and what was wild is he knew it was the end. He knew it was the end, which is why when he got out, he immediately satiated that need, that hunger for like, and I was like, how many mistakes can you guys make? And then and when the end credits talked about how multiple women and survivors have reported him over the years, up until that moment, I had just assumed that everyone up until that girl hadn't made it. You mean? Let me calm down. I'm getting high. You mean to tell me that there were multiple women who were saying that if nothing else, maybe we just kind of sit on this guy and pay close attention to him and watch him at all times. Oh, just in the movie that says truth. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just it.
Well, when I was looking into it, like, he's been arrested several times. He's served prison time. I think at one point, what did he? So when they eventually put him away for the 8-year-old that survived, but because I think when it was going to trial and stuff, apparently the family had moved away and they didn't want her to go and be a witness, so his charges were like dropped a bit. So he got 17 months, and then I think it said less than 2 months after he was released, he was then arrested for assaulting a 13-year-old, and then he was out again after 2 years, and they let him go to New York. And then he killed a 23-year-old, and it was just like, when I was reading, I was like, oh my God. And then he was working with a newspaper, and I was like, how?
Okay.
Sorry, he's been in the newspaper. How nobody see him?
Okay.
It's just wild.
I know that it's the 70s, and we can't exactly go Google somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
However. What? Like, oh my,
crazy.
My gosh. And you know, it makes you think about, like, how much have people gotten away with, period, because of just, like, it's one thing where you don't have enough evidence to prove your case and you're trying and just like, it happens, it fails. But like, I don't know if this was a true account, but when, what's the character's name? When Laura, the audience member who recognizes Rodney, I know that she technically wasn't a real person, but I'm not sure if her experience was real. When she went to the police, this is after the dating game. When she went to the police and she was like, "Hey, I want to file up my report," and they were like, huh? We don't have it." Yeah. She's like, "What?" Like, who did you speak to? I'm like, this better be fake for me. I'm about to blow my gasket.
Yeah, that was making. I mean, she went off on one, didn't she? And I felt her frustration, and I was very mad at that as well. But
and I'm wondering if maybe she was meant to represent the survivors who did try to report, did try to, you know, and again, because it's reported that they didn't speak to any survivors, and you know, I guess maybe that's why I feel like she's there to represent the survivors and their frustration and their anger and everything, even though she herself wasn't a victim, her friend was, which I don't know if that character was a real victim, you know, or, you know, whatnot. I'm not sure, but again, it just, we were talking about this movie. We dived into it. We researched it. We found information. So it did do its job. It did do its job. It got a visceral reaction from me, and I think from you, right? I do think that, biopic aside, that Anna Kendrick, even though it's 2 different movies, I think the directing, I liked the directing, and I kind of want to see what she does with a romantic comedy on its own and a thriller on its own. Star 26 Rising, we are talking about Woman of the Hour with Anna Kendrick. So any thoughts or comments you have on that, you can feel free to drop in the chat. Yeah. Yeah.
It was
just, oh, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah. It looked nice, and it was shot really well. Yeah. And I feel like they captured the 70s quite well. Yeah. I liked, there's a couple of particular scenes where I really loved or noticed how the camera was moving, and it was when they were in the car park, Anna Kendrick and Rodney, when it had got a little bit tense, and then the camera's like following her as she's walking, and then it just goes slightly back, and then he's in the frame as well. And they do that again when he's coming out of the toilet at the gas station at the end, and they follow him around the building. I thought that was great. Yeah. It looked good.
like, and so do I have her name here? I keep. Okay, so the survivor in the movie, Amy. So when she said what she said, and he got her in the car, and they were driving, like it was so tense for me because I kept waiting for her to open the door and start running. I was like, when's she gonna do it? When's she gonna?
Yeah.
And she was so smart about it. She was so smart about it because I feel like even at that intersection with the other pickup truck, I thought she was gonna run out and be like, help me.
Yeah, she didn't even look, did she?
No, she and he watched her. He watched her. And I think it was very smart because there was a 50-50 chance that guy was either going to be like, I don't have time for a couple drama, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe he was like, hey, what's going on? Oh, nothing. It's my daughter. Because technically she was young enough, right? Technically. Yeah. It's my daughter. We're arguing. He might, did that. Or like, I feel like the best case scenario, he would have tricked the guy to get close enough to him and then kill the guy, and then she would have been out of luck unless she made it to the car or something. So, I thought that was done well too, because it was like driving my like anxiety, and I was like, oh, what's happening? What's going on? Like, so I thought that was done well, and that's why I feel like if we had followed this character more,
she was good as well. She played it really. I mean, you could just see like she was trying to make out like she liked him, wasn't she? And oh, let's go back to your place. But you could see like when she'd look out the window and stuff, you could just see the pain in her face, and I was just like, oh, I just wanna save you. But yeah, she did that because I don't know how old that girl was in the film, but she looked quite young. I know the real victim was younger. But
so I feel like in the film she looked anywhere from 15 to 17. Like she could pull that off. The real actress is probably in her early 20s, probably, and then I think the actual victim was like 8 or something crazy. I think 8 or 12 or something crazy. I was like,
so brave, so clever,
so brave, so clever,
quick thinking for her to do that. Yeah.
Oh, thank God for that. Because honestly, like, who knows? Because even though her testimony only had not testimony, but even though it only got him, what I think like 17 months or something, that is still time him off the streets, away. So essentially, that is still saving some
lives. Yeah,
people walking around who probably their mother or them could have been victims. They had no idea. So I'm very. That was crazy. Let's see. Then it said that like you mentioned, Rodney, his character, he did work at the LA Times, but as a typesetter, not a photographer. And he did use his hobby as a way to spend time with women, because that's what predators do, right? They find a way to attract their prey. Okay, this is it. Yeah, okay, this is what Lovely was talking about. It said that in 1979, while investigating the murder, the police searched Rodney's store talker and found photos of women and girls, and more than 100 of these images were released to the public in March of 2010. So they found it in 1979 and did not release it until 2010. So if they released it earlier, if there would have been more people coming forward, because we're not sure if like family and people like died off, moved away, just kind of like, you know what I mean? Like we don't. So it's very curious they waited that long to release those photos. I'm not sure if they were just trying to be respectful to the victims, try to solve. I don't know, but it's
that's too long.
So what I want to see here. Oh, so there were certain like things that characters said in the movie that I thought was a good way of kind of like, foreshadowing or trying to really like, it's a deeper meaning than what is being said because we know things the character doesn't know.
Yeah.
And one thing that Amy, the victim, had said was, it's amazing how one selfish asshole can mess up your entire life. And even though she was talking about her father, like it's just the reality of the situation that she's really in,
True. Yeah.
She survived, thank God, but what did that do to her quality of life? Her mental, her emotional? How long did it take her to get over certain things? Did she ever get over certain things?
Yeah.
So it's I thought that was interesting. And then
I didn't pick up on that one. Yeah.
yeah. I seen 7 says, "How are you?"
Oh.
I don't know if I'm saying
How are you?
Sorry. And then the makeup ladies on set. The one lady who was bonding, and she said, it comes down to all this time and all these people. It comes down to one question, and she's like, "What?" And I think it was in the trailer. She says, "Which one of you will hurt me?" So it's just again another like deeper meaning because you know what the stakes are. So I like little little nuggets like that. I thought that was well done.
That was good.
Yes, agreed. Let's see. Oh, so all right. So when Rodney took Amy into the desert, and he's like, "I'll take pictures," like, let me take, like, he was taking pictures of her, and her back was to the sun. I was immediately like, "That is such bad lighting. What are you doing?" Like, like I know what I know what his aim was, but I was just like, at least try to make it like believable. My God, like the sun to your back. Oh, you know how bad that lighting is. And then he tells her to turn around, and I'm like, oh, okay. And she closed her eyes, and that scene, especially after how the first victim you introduced, how that went with the neck, her like with her neck exposed like that up. Oh my God! Like again, great job building tension. Because like, okay, when is his hand coming around her neck?
Yeah.
When is it happening? You're getting like anxiety, like, oh my gosh, when is it happening? When is it happening?
Yeah.
So I thought that was
quick. It's super quick as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like in and down. Yeah. Ooh.
And then it didn't even really show him tackling her. You just heard the scuffling for the most part.
Yeah.
Again, I really like the choices that they made with showing how, like, I feel like there was respect to that as far as like the victims.
Came back to it late the next morning, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
When they
Oh. Okay. How about, I know this didn't really happen in real life, but man, still, how about when she gave Rodney her number, and they're walking back, and he's just picking up on her now she's off vibes, like, okay, and he's like, let me just double check. What was your number again? And she's like, oh, let me see. He's like, you don't know by heart? I was like, right.
Yeah, my heart dropped as soon as he said that. I was like, oh no, I know what you're doing.
I was like, girl, you should have just changed the last 2 numbers. That way you could have, but remember. And then like I remember. Okay, so this is not like, but when cell phones really started being a thing, and in clubs and guys, asking for girls' number, no longer could, like, before you give them a fake number, they wouldn't know until they got home.
Yeah.
And dialed it. But now with cell phones, they're like, what's your number? Cool, I'm gonna text you right now. I'm gonna call you right now. Oh, my battery's dead. Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, damn technology.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was giving me that vibe, and that was giving me those vibes, like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
God.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was a good tense scene. I did like that again. Great
Yeah.
tension
Yeah.
building, and when he's
Yeah.
following her and stops her getting in the car, it's like, oh God.
Yeah.
But thankfully, those men come out, don't they? And
Yeah. What's the word? Again, the liberties that they took between Anna Kendrick and her character Cheryl Bradshaw and Rodney for the movie, I was like, I can get behind it because it really did a good job of like highlighting that. Like I understood that.
yeah,
You know what I mean? I definitely understood that. Let's see.
yeah. I think thinking about it now, I think it might have been Scott, just another movie night, that said something about in his review. I don't know. It did make me think, and I was like, oh, and rewatching it again today, I was like, they do put a big part of this film on Anna Kendrick's or Cheryl's like character, don't they? A lot of the film is about her throughout it, even though I guess she's quite a smaller part in the real life of it all, which was, I guess, is odd. But yeah, like you say, that's what makes it seems like two completely different movies.
Yes. It's really literally not until she's having dinner with him that it feels like we're all in one movie now.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Even on the dating game itself, her interaction still felt like rom-com-y.
Yeah.
Still felt rom-com. You know what I mean? And then so I just right. Just
so I can't remember. Do you remember, when they're having those drinks in that cocktail bar? Do you remember what he says when the bar lady comes and they want another drink?
Oh.
But he said something to her before, doesn't he? And she just goes,
yes,
like, to the bar lady, like.
Sorry,
I can't remember what he said that made her be like.
So
there's something wrong here.
Shoot. I think that I think it started with his annoyance.
Yeah.
/ rising anger at her, like laughing at his like assessment of her.
Yeah.
And I can't exactly remember what he said after that to further like make her go like
Yeah. bad vibes.
Yes. Just Another Movie Night says, thanks for the call out. That clash felt a bit out of place. Yes. Yeah. So again, I think there's two really good movies here that were mushed together.
Yeah.
And that's what's I'm having a little bit of difficulty with, accommodating. So now I know this technically wasn't, a real character, but we're just gonna talk within the confines of the movie. Laura, again, the audience member who recognized him, when she starts like getting upset and everything, and she goes to the car, and then her boyfriend comes and she tells him, and he's like, well, what do you want me to do about it? I was just like, okay, movie, I get it. Men were useless at this time. Message received. Because even what he said?
It's when he's like, how sure are you? And she's like, I'm like 90%. And he's like, so not really sure. And I'm like, 90%? It's like, he's pretty damn sure.
Listen, a 90% is still an A, no? if nothing else, it's enough for us to look into this. Is it not? Is it not?
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. I was like,
I was
Oh
like,
dear.
oh my. He was like, so he was like, and he was supposed to be. I think he was like the nicest guy in the whole doggone movie, other than Terry, her neighbor, which he had little couple little digs. I was just like, all right, calm down, calm down. The movie night says, I wish this was a season of Netflix's series on these killers, so these victims could really have their stories told. Yes. Yeah, I feel like when you use the term based on a true story, you have a responsibility that you have to be willing to take on. And it just Jordan Manchester United says, hi, happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Sorry. So yeah, I think there was an opportunity to, if we took out a big chunk of Anna Kendrick's character Cheryl Bradshaw, the parts they completely fabricated about her trying to be an actress. Which what? Before I even say that, let's dive back into that. Let's talk about again how over and over and over again they just kind of wanted to let in case you didn't know, men were trash at this time. I'm like, dang. So you got the neighbor who's giving you who wants to give you unsolicited notes, okay? Who doesn't pick up on the friend vibe. But like she gets a phone call, he walks in, she's like, I'm on the phone, he goes, oh, you're fine, and sits on the couch. My dude, get out. Get out. Yeah. Then you have her going to her audition where it's like she's giving her heart. They're like, how do you feel about taking your clothes off? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
what am I trying for? Now, it will not shock anybody to know that there was a lot of boobage in the 80s and the 70s. Like they were like, this is a horror movie. You know what? Let's throw some boobs in. Jason, you good? Get them. You know what I mean? Like it just didn't matter. Just boobs. Here we go. And so, okay, all right. Her neighbor, the producers, trash, right? The bachelors, oh my gosh, dumb, misogynistic, and killer. Got it. The one good guy who supports his girlfriend, but are you sure though?
Yeah.
What are you gonna do about the guy who you think is your friend?
And even the security guard that she goes to complain, and he sets her up with that trick with the janitor, and I was like, no, janitor, he was the nicest one.
Yeah. Yes. But you know what? You know what? Give him 10 more minutes, they would have found a way. They would have found a way to make it. He would have been like, well, I get off in an hour if you want to just go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Like, let's see. Just another night says, men haven't come that far today to be honest.
Wow.
Let me see. I just I want to say I disagree.
Yeah.
But I'll be quiet because there's a lot going on in the world right now.
That's true. And the movers,
Back to Men Sucky in the movie The Movers. Yes. Oh, I was like, you mean we can't find one stand-up guy in the movie? Not one. No. Now, technically, the boyfriend had a little bit of an arc. Cause at the end, he went with her to the report. He finally got on board, but I was just like, good Lord.
I never really, I was noticing they were bad, but yeah, when we put it like that, like lay them all out, it's like, oh dear God, yeah. They did. They didn't do it.
You know that, I don't know if you know that YouTube channel, Honest Trailers.
No.
Okay. So what they do is like, it's like they will take a movie and they'll like say a funny spin on it. They'll point out all the holes in it. Just make it like comedic. And then at the very end, the people starring in it, they'll rename them. You know what I mean? Like as far as like you know, woman who's always mad, you know, guy who never gets it. Like just find other things. And then they retitle the movie to make it kind of more sense to what they're talking about. And I feel like if they did this movie, the title would go from Women of the Hour to Men Are Trash. Like that's what we let's see. Scott, just in the movie night, said there was a clever point being made by Kendrick, but it's true. I can't argue. George says, have you seen Sickle Slasher Horror? It's very good. No. Is that's literally the movie's called Sickle Slasher Horror? Or is that a genre you're talking about?
I think it's called Sickle, and it must be a slasher.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Oops.
I feel like I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
No, but seeing as I know what a sickle is, slasher horror sounds like it right up in the mix. That that like the thing that death carries. Yeah. I have not seen it, Jordan, but I will look into that now. I am a horror fan. I am definitely a horror fan. So that is wild to me. Oh goodness. Wow. So one thing that I with the end credits, when they let the guy go out on bail and after he assaulted a runaway and all that other stuff, it says that the survivor returned to ensure that Rodney would not be released out on parole. Like this is later, like he was up for parole, and I feel like if she hadn't done that, they might have let him go on parole.
Yeah.
Like I legit like
It was almost like that's what it was getting at. Yeah. But again, she came through and was brave and did what she needed to do, because I think it said she was a grown woman by this point.
Oh yeah, I didn't know.
Wasn't she? Yeah. But yeah.
And I appreciate and I'm in awe of like her strength, because that's a lot, even as a grown person, to come back and face up like this is a lot. And she saw how they dropped the ball last time. She goes, nah, not this time. Not this time.
It. If they hadn't have, she wouldn't have been in the position she was in, would she? Because he'd still be in jail. So, she wanted to make sure he stayed there.
Yeah, and who could blame her? Because once again, as the end credits have said, multiple women survived and reported him.
Yeah.
Multiple is more than 3, which is already too many for you to be ignoring. But okay, whatever. I
think there was men as well, and I think they kind of tried to show that with the guy at the newspaper that he was talking to in the film.
Yeah, like
he was showing all the pictures
when the police came and after they left, there was murmuring in the office, and I think that's probably one of those moments where it was like, this is when he, I guess, was a person of interest and things like that. And
they kind of tried to arrange to see each other that night, didn't they? And then it was a bit of an awkward moment where he was like, I've got to work because there's no one else here to do it. So
smart move. That was the move, buddy. That was the move. But then, did you notice that there was a picture of that same character in his book later that the girl, when Amy was looking at it? Did you see?
No.
I could be wrong, but the picture looks exactly like that character that told him, no, I'm not going with you.
Yeah.
So, I have to go back and rewatch it to see, but I was like, oh, snap. Was this before and he was able to get away with it? So he doesn't maybe he did take a picture of him, but he didn't kill him that time. So whatever. So it just
and even just for these random people that he worked with, because the photos were apparently all sexually explicit, and he was saying, their parents pay me to take these photos. How did there was a woman looking at them as well. How did I believe in real life she was the one that was a bit that I think I've read an account of her saying, she thought it was very strange, but how did not one of those people just think there's something wrong here? This isn't right, surely. Or is it just because it was the 70s?
So I'm going to reference something from Just on Movie Night. I listened to their review of Howard the Duck, a movie from the 80s.
Listening to that today.
Yes. It was hilarious. I have notes. I have comments, but I'm going to send them to later. I always do that. So, no, like funny comments. So one of the things that they said was the majority of Howard the Duck, the costume inside was a 10-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, until as they bring up, you think about the bedroom scene. You're like, what was the kid on set for that? Was that was someone else in the costume at that time? There's no like Scott said there was conflicting reports. Some said he was, some said he wasn't. But the amount of no one batted an eye, basically, and that was the 80s. So I'm saying that to reference again societal norms and culture, and how things again ignoring what your intuition, what your vibes is telling you because of what society is. Okay, this is cool, or etiquette, or things like that. So I just wanted to point that out real quick. Just on the Movie Night says, I love you too. Hi, we love you guys. And he's searching for the movie Sickle. You and me both, Scott. We're gonna watch this. So, oh my goodness. All right. So I know it's getting late because we got the time zone wrong a little bit.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Amir, I see your request. You can shoot me a DM and I can schedule with you for you to have your own time. We talk about a movie. This is one-on-one right now. But I would love to talk with you guys. I have spots open in January. So before we get out of here and close out, because this has been such a great conversation. I'm so happy we chose this movie because remember we had two choices and I was like, ooh, I'm so glad you picked this one. So I put out a poll. I know you already technically answered the poll. What is your favorite Anna Kendrick movie? And because polls only limit you to 4 answers, so I just picked 4 kind of the top ones. And I know there are other movies that she's been in, but I was trying to figure out which ones where she was the main character or at least one of the main characters, all that kind of stuff. For funsies, I was gonna put Twilight, but I was like, nah, I need that space. So I had picked Pitch Perfect, Mr. Right, A Simple Favor, Woman of the Hour. Now somebody said Up in the Air with George Clooney. I forgot about that movie. That was fun too. Yeah. Have you seen all 4 or 5 of these movies?
I haven't seen Up in the Air. Miss Right, I feel like I might have seen that. Was that like a rom-com?
It was a rom-com. It was Mr. Right. It was a rom-com.
I feel like I might have seen it, but I don't remember. Love Pitch Perfect films.
Okay, yes. I've watched the first 2. I have not watched the third one. I have not watched the third one. I've watched the first 2. Love the first 2. I just haven't gotten around to watching the third one. I do recommend Mr. Right. I think you would enjoy it. It's definitely a rom-com. It's definitely fun. It's a good time. It is a good time.
No surprise.
If we were doing a watch party, I'd watch it with you. That's how good it is. So you're gonna enjoy it. So you chose,
is it the one?
Huh?
Is it the one with Sam Rockwell?
Yes.
Yes. That was very good. Yes. Yeah, I do remember that. I watched that with my boyfriend, and he really liked it as well.
Yes. Okay. Joe, what I missed, I just got home. The Crafty Misfit. We're actually about to close out. You've missed quite a good conversation. Don't worry, there'll be a replay. So I think you chose your favorite film was A Simple Favor.
Yeah, I do like that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is the only one listed I have not seen.
Okay. So you need to watch that.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
they were talking about doing a second one.
Really? Okay. Okay. All right. You know what? Say less, Becky. Say less. I'm going to watch it. The crowd says, "Did I miss Howard the Duck talk?" Yes, we kind of highlighted it a little bit. We did talk about. We did. We made reference. We made reference. Um. So yeah. So my choice would have to be, because I haven't seen A Simple Favor, would have to be Pitch Perfect. Mr. Right is like right behind it though. Like that's how much I enjoy that movie. But Pitch Perfect, I got to give it to it. It was I love that film. It's and then harmonizing and acapella. It's very cool.
Oh, I've got the soundtrack CD and everything. I love it. I love having a good sing song to that.
Yeah, listen, I can't even sing Happy Birthday in key. So just like the whole acapella, it's just amazing to see. I'm just like, I love it.
Yeah. I love the bit what she does with the cups.
Okay. So the crowd just said, "Trolls, damn it, it's so good." LOL. Okay. So I have seen the first. Was it?
I do love that film. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
I kind of ignored that one.
Okay.
I didn't like forget about it. I kind of ignored it because I was just like, well, it's a fun film, and the singing with her and Justin Timberlake. Yeah. Is it like gonna be on a list of my favorite? No, it's not. It's not. It's not. It's not. I was able to make it through the second one, and they were like, I think they have 4 movies. I was like, no. I was like, okay. I told my kids, go on without me. I can't. Go on without me.
Yeah, they're definitely get worse, but I do like the first one.
Yeah, so it's fun. I do like how they bring in the singing elements. Poppy is so cute. Yes, as a 80s baby, Trolls. I remember Trolls, the little figure. These Trolls are much cuter than the Trolls from the 80s.
With the little gemstone
yes. Yes. They had a face only a mother could love, as they call it. I'm like, oh, man. I still love them. I still love my trolls. Well, thank you again so much for being on, Becky. Make sure you guys are following her. This Girl Loves Horror. And her podcast, if you want to plug that again for me, please.
The Girl and the Gay podcast.
Yes. I'll send you the link as well. I'm going to check that out. Joe said the trolls we have look like old men. Oh, we did. Justin Moon, I said, I haven't slept because of last night. This was a highlight of this crap day. Thanks. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yes. I had a wonderful time, and I hope that you'll join me again on a future episode.
Yes.
You had a good time?
Yeah. Maybe we can do that other film we were talking about.
Oh, yes, maybe we could. Love you too, Crafty Mischief. All right, so I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. Again, if you guys want to join, and I do this most Wednesdays. I do this most Wednesdays. Hit me up in the DMs. My January slate is wide open. Oh, and December actually. When I think about it, so let's talk movies. I love it. I love getting to know you guys. This is why I do this. I love getting to know this community. It's been a pleasure. Like, this has been worth it. It is worth it. So
thank you for having me as well. I've very much enjoyed it and chatting with you. I'm the same. I love doing this. So
excellent.
Anytime.
I'm so glad that you the other thing is I get very busy. So
yeah.
This is my way of forcing myself to watch movies that I want to watch. I'm so busy. So if I make it like, oh, I'm going to talk about it to somebody, it forces me, which is also why I asked the guests what they've watched so that
Yeah.
they, so I can, okay, great. We'll pick what you watched, so it's so much easier. All right.
True.
Perfect. All right, guys. See you guys next week. Thank you again.